it's Dana, and the very first thing we're going to do with this kit is we're going to cut our papers to the sizes that are marked on your colored instruction sheet. This is really just a guideline for you guys to see where things line up and also how to cut your mounting cards. So we pre-cut ours. So you're going to end up with 4 different squares. This extra piece on top is all extra if you want to use it for journaling or maybe like a fold-up card or something like that. And also with this one on the black side of it, we pre-cut a black square. So you'll see an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper plus this 5 by 5 black square. So these are all the mounting cards. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then the 5 by 5 square. So that's 8 total. And they all, obviously, 4 go on 4. So go ahead and pre-cut your cards if you haven't done that already. And then you can, if you want to get ahead of the game, line them up on top so that the sketchy heart, which is the white paper with the red hearts and the pink hearts, so you have a black frame around it. Those will all be in there and they all will line up. What we like to do with the small pieces when we're cutting them apart is we just like to use a regular sticky note and just take a sticky note off. The sticky side will be at the bottom. Fold your little card in half, and this works a couple different ways. First of all, your sticky's here. So as you can see from this one, these little tiny lips, you can stick it to the little edge of the sticky so that you won't lose them. And also what you can do with the rest of the pieces that go with those is you can either stick them to the outside just to make sure you can locate them again. But then once you get the bigger pieces cut, let me find my scissors. You can stick them kind of like a little tiny file folder inside of here to keep everything organized. In case you have to like get back to your, you have to stop and do something else and come back to it, that they're all here and you can find all your pieces. That's really important. So go ahead and cut all your pieces apart. You're going to see that they're connected by these little tiny connectors. They can just be clipped off like this little butterfly. Just round it. They're pretty easy to do. And then we'll go on to the next step. We lined up the white underneath the red metallic. For the beard, we put a little bit of the sticky dots on the top portion of the beard, and we're going to just slightly overlap it like that. Before we put the nose on, we're going to put the little tiny kiss on there just because it's a little hard to maneuver. So what I'm going to do is with my liquid adhesive, I'm going to try to do this to show you guys. You can see this little guy. We're just going to put a little bit, it doesn't need a little bit of adhesive on there. And then we're going to stick it on the nose. We kind of look like you got a smack on it, like a kiss on his nose. So you can put that however you want to put it. We're going to put it right about there. And I'm going to recap my glue. And now we have one sticky dot on the nose just to give it a little bit of dimension. And then this little V part that's cut out on the beard, we're going to stick it right on that area just to give them some dimension. And the final step is going to be to adhere the pom-pom on the top of the hat. For the headline, guys, you'll see that we've created it with these bars in there. The bars are meant to be cut off. You can obviously leave them if you want. Another thing that's really good about these is the fact that you can glue down everywhere and actually put the pink to the black and then use an X-Acto after it's dry to just cut very gently. You can basically just press your X-Acto blade into it because they're straight cuts. Or you can just use a tiny pair of scissors like these when it's dry and get in there and cut. I like to cut it beforehand and then just line them up. They're pretty easy to line up. We just do that so that it keeps it all together for you and lines it up in case you don't want to do it. So that's how we do it. Next, we're going to construct the kissing booth. It's super cute. We have one of these straws in here. It's a paper straw. You're just going to cut it pretty much in half. So just using scissors, you can cut that in half. These are going to be the supports for the sides of the kissing booth. So the pieces you're going to need is the smooches, the 25 cents, which we've already pre-cut, your gnome that you put together, the black and the craft pieces that construct the top and the bottom of the kissing booth, and you're going to use your straw pieces. So what we're going to do on this one, the very first thing we're going to do is put on our smooches, which goes on the top. So just, sorry, out of frame. I'm going to do it real quick right here, but obviously you want to do a little bit more careful of a job. And we're going to put smooches right across the top. It fits perfectly into that cute little header. And we're going to leave the 25 cents over to the left side of the bottom portion of the booth. When we put it on the page, we're going to lift it up a little bit. So we just want to make sure that it's in there. Okay. There's no right or wrong way to do this. We're going to take our gnome. We need two things we need to figure out. Where the gnome's going to go, you can put him wherever you would like. And also to make sure that we can see all three of these hearts. There's plenty of room for the straw to go in on the sides of it. So the first thing we're going to do is put a little adhesive. I'm going to use some Pop Dots on the bottom portion of my beard on my gnome. I'm just going to use a couple, and I'm going to go back and I'll reinforce it after I get it where I want. So I'm going to use 3 of them, and as you can see, it's right at the bottom portion of his beard and the point part. So we just want to be able to see the cute little accents we put in, like the 25 cents. So we're going to put him basically like this, a little bit of an overlap over the 25 cents, but then we're going to lay him down. So like I said, you can see that it's not quite over the whole thing. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our smooches on. You can make this a little crooked if you want. I'm going to do it kind of straight up the middle. So I'm going to kind of look at it and see, okay, under the C, between the C and the O is where my Pop Dots need to go. I'm going to Pop Dot it, and I'll tell you why. Because the depth of these is about what the Pop Dots are. Definitely helps, and it won't be bumped up. You don't have to use this if you like to have things that are flat. You don't have to use the straws. You can cut your own little supports. Okay, so I have the 2 Pop Dots. I'm going to stick it right to the hat. So as you can see, it all sits together like that. I'm going to show you how the supports work, but I'm not going to put the heart-shaped supports down until I get it ready to go on the page. So the supports are going to go right behind it. Now, you can just glue on the back of it and stick it if you want right now. Let me try doing that and see if it works. Right on the back side. And I want to have mine a little bit, you want it to look a little dilapidated, a little bit, you know, not constructed really well. So as you can see, that works just fine. So when we go to adhere it, I'll probably do some Pop Dots on the back of it just so that it sits nice and flush. And I'm going to repeat the process on the other side. So a little bit of the sticky on both sides. And I think there's an up way and a down way of those hearts. So you can see that they're kind of pointing downward. So we just want to make sure those are going in the right direction. So there you have it. You have your smooches on your gnome. For the butterfly, there's a couple tools you're going to need. Or just be able to twist this around something smaller. Or you can just leave it and just curve them out. You don't have to twist them at the ends, but you can. You'll see that my butterfly, the antenna, has got these frayed ends. The very first thing that you're going to do very carefully is use a lighter to seal the ends. So what happens is it's a synthetic fiber, so it just kind of melts a little bit. So you just want to carefully, and it's going to be hot, obviously, when you're done. You'll see that it kind of shrunk down. Obviously, they're synthetic material, so it just kind of is like a plastic. So a couple of things I'm going to do here. You'll see on this one, it's kind of sticking out a little bit farther than it needs to. So I'm going to, well, I guess I use these. Trim it off just slightly if I can with these little dinky scissors so it doesn't stick out. And then I'll just don't touch it after you're done. If it does catch on fire like it just did, just blow it out real quick. Okay? So it makes it nice and clean. And with synthetic ribbons, you can do the same thing. I know some of you have seen some of my other videos, and you have to be careful with it, and you have to make sure you watch it. So what we're going to do is we're going to fold, once that's done, this chenille pipe cleaner in half. So that's going to make the body of the butterfly. Okay? So you're going to do that with a pair of needle nose pliers. Take the end. I hold it firm with, I'm right-handed. So obviously if you're left-handed, go the opposite way. And then I just turn it with my right hand. Or left hand, I should say. Okay? So you just want it to have that little end on it. Just basically making a little circle. It does not need to be, I pinch it tight. I roll it. And then I carefully slide it out. That one actually needs to be a little bit bigger. So you can go back in there. You can find your little hole that you started. And you can pinch it. So you'll have these two little antennae things, okay? That's the hardest part. All you're going to do is take your red metallic. You're going to adhere. I'm going to go right down the middle of it, of the red metallic. We're only going to adhere it to where the black chenille is going to sit. So I'm going to put a little bit on the vellum and a little bit on the red metallic, very small amounts. I'm going to blow on it so it dries just slightly so it's tacky, and then I'm going to stick them on top of each other like that. The next thing I'm going to do is take whatever color gems. We gave you a bunch to choose from. I think what I'm going to do is actually use the light pink so it'll tie back into, if I can pull it over here, these little hearts. So I'm going to take the light pink. You can use all of them. You can use none of them. I'm just going to take the light pink ones and put it on the top part of my butterfly. And this is going to go on top of your mushroom that we made. Okay, so this should still be a little bit tacky. What you're going to do. Sorry, I keep moving out of frame. You are just going to, obviously I need to, you can use a hot glue gun if you want. I am probably going to tack it down with a hot glue gun after I get out of frame. And you are just going to adhere these to the front of it. If you'd like, if you think that's a little too thick, you can kind of stick between it. Okay, and then you just have to play with your antenna till you get them where you want. And honestly, if you do it that way, if you put it in the middle of it, you really don't, it's pretty stuck on there. You don't have to use any adhesive at all, okay? And then if you bend it up just slightly, it'll give it more of a dimension. We're going to start by doing the left-hand side of the page. So we're going to dry fit everything in there. So we're going to have our header, the mushroom we pre-did, one of the pieces of grass. There's two. One goes on the right side, one goes on the left side. And we need one of our clouds and our mounting squares. So you need your smallest mounting square, and you need the 5x5, the square. So this one, as you can see, it's a 5x5 with the 4.5. So we're going to just kind of dry fit where they go, and that's how we're going to do it. Let's start putting these babies down. Okay, so I'm going to pull everything off and build the bottom pieces first. So the bottom pieces are going to be the mounting cards. I'm just going to lightly tack mine. Obviously, you want to put yours down a little bit better than I do. Okay, I'm going to just roughly put that one in place and then stick it down later. It's a little crooked right now. But I'm going to put the bigger one down first to make sure that the upper one is roughly centered on top of it, because you don't want it to look a little bit wonky. Okay, so I'm going to put this guy here, and I'm going to put, we want to make sure we have enough room for the mushroom on this side. The mushroom goes all the way to the bottom. So this is going to be, I know some of you measurers out there, this is roughly going to be about 1 1/4 from the bottom and about 1 1/4 from the side. Okay, so I'm just gonna make that a little bit straighter. Like I said, this guy's gonna go just slightly over, so it's centered above this one roughly. I'm going to, since I have the mushroom right here, I've pop dotted it. As you can see, I left it open so you guys could see. So the top, the white with the hearts on it, is pop dotted up. So it gives it a little bit of dimension and a little bit of height. You can obviously leave it flat, whatever your desire. Okay, I'm going to put it roughly like 1/8 of an inch from the bottom, because we're going to put the grass down there. So then your grass goes just underneath that. Put just a little bit on here right now. You can use as much as you want. It gives it a cute little look. Okay, for your butterfly, he's going to go on the top of it. I'm going to use some pop dots because he's a little bit bulky. So on this top portion, I'm going to actually use 4 pop dots. So I'm going to put 2 on there like that. I'm going to stack them. You do not have to do this if you want to do it flatter. You're just going to have to figure out how you're going to do that. Okay, so I'm going to put 2 on there like that, just to make it extra tall. Sorry about my voice. Okay, so we took those off. They're sticky right now. You can put it wherever you want. If you decide that you want to put it like on your picture, that'd be super cute too. If there's something in your picture you don't want to see, I have a pop dot square that I can't get off. Okay, so he's going to go right there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to put our cloud down. You can sometimes see on our cuts, there's a little tiny bit of the lasering that you can see. That's the back side. It cuts clean on the front side, and then that is the back side. So that's just a good way to know. And I'm going to do a little bit of a combo. You guys may or may not have seen me do this before. I'm going to do the bulk of the cloud. I'm going to do flat, but these edges, I'm going to pop them up a little bit. And I'm not going to take the sticky off the back of it so that I can slide my pictures underneath there. It gives it a nice touch where it kind of incorporates into it. Plus it gives it some dimension on the page. So this we have going right about here. And like I said, this part, but what you can do for this picture is pop it up just a little bit to give it a little bit more dimension. And wherever you need to do it to make it look cute for you, so you can see it's not as flat. You can do this flat or pop. You know me, people, that I'm going to pop it up. So I'm just going to quickly do this because you guys don't really want to see me put pop dots on. So I'm just going to put the top ones on for right now. But obviously you're going to want to take all the sticky off and adhere it down really well. So that is going to be your left side of the page. That right side page done. So you have your 2 remaining squares, and it's going to be the overall size is the black with the 5.5 wide by 4.5 tall, and then the taller one, which is 4.5 wide by 5 inches tall. And you know it by the hearts going in the same direction. You want them all going in the same direction. You're also going to need your kissing booth, your other piece of grass. We cut that apart so that we can use it as different accents. And then you need your other cloud and your other sun. So the first thing we're going to stick down is the sun. So we already popped out of that. So we're going to, the back is actually flat, but the circle portion of it is raised up. And we're going to put down our mounting guards, just like we did on the other side. We're going to stick that one there. And again, it's roughly 3/4 of an inch here and here. You might want to measure it a little bit better than I just did. I'm an eyeballer. I don't really care how far they are. I'm not a precise person for this. Okay, so we have those on there. We do not have the grass and the kissing booth on there. We're going to move that aside for right now. We're going to put the cloud down like we did on the other side. We're going to do it exactly the same way. We're going to do the body of it. We're going to do with regular flat adhesive. And then we're going to put some pop dots in little sections that we want it to stick up. And again, we're not going to take off the adhesive or the protecting back so that we can slip our photos underneath there. So I'm going to put it right about here. You want to put these down first so that you don't cover up the kissing booth. So now we're going to take our already put together Smooch's Gnome kissing booth. And we're going to go pretty close to the bottom. You want his little, whoop, as I pop that off, not dried yet, his hat to kind of go over the cloud so that you can see the cute parts of it. So like I told you before, when you put him down, I'm going to put adhesive along my straws because they're going to be the most elevated portion. But you can also use pop dots or squares or however you do it. And we're just going to center it into this void space over here, this big blue space. I'm going to go almost to the bottom, but not quite. All right, so now I'm going to move them up just slightly. Okay, so you have your page. Now we're going to focus on this. So you had your big long piece that started off looking like this, the grass. We're going to cut it apart. And all we really did, it's just for accent, to bring a little bit of the green onto the other side. So I'm with one of the smaller pieces, I'm just going to stick it back behind, again, to give it some dimension. So it's in the background. And with this guy, let's use my pliers. We're going to cut it here. And there's no wrong way to do this. If you decide that you want to put it on his nose, I don't really care. You can do whatever you want to do. But maybe a little bit there would be cute. So I'm going to put just a tiny bit next to the 25. I don't want to cover it, but I want to have like a foreground and a background kind of look. And on this one, I'm going to probably put it right there. And there you have it, guys. The complete, let me move it back into the square.
Now shine.